I'm Anders Paalzow. I'm currently serving as rector of the Stockholm School of Economics in Riga, and for people outside Latvia, rector might not mean very much, but I'm what they would in the UK call a vice chancellor of a small university or business school, the Stockholm School of Economics in Riga. Being here for 13 years, I've been able to see Latvia prior to EU accession and also afterwards. And needless to say, being here for 13 years, I like to be in this country. Latvian universities, or put it like this, Latvian educational system is extremely good, and people do not believe me, but the university system is extremely good in terms of, or the educational system is extremely good in terms of preparing students for higher education. So then working for a school which also has an outlet in Stockholm, our mother school, the Stockholm School of Economics, and we have good students in both places, but because of the Latvian educational system providing good university students, we can work 30 to 40% harder with our students here than what we can do in Sweden. So that's very important. Then I think the main challenge for the university system as a whole is to make sure that students stay in the country, that they do not leave, because with the European Union, of course, it's easier to travel across the borders, and we see many European students actively recruiting Latvians to enter the bachelor and master's programs abroad. The selling point we have here, and that means for students coming to us, we have quite a big number of students from the neighboring countries, and also for the exchange students, that Riga in particular is a very interesting city. It's not very big, but not very small either, and everything is within walking distance. For students, it's nice student life because you have a lot of entertainment, housing is affordable, and it's a good location. You are in the European Union, but you are still close to interesting countries like Russia, and people come here because it's also still an unknown part of the European Union. So for us, the trick is to get a partner university to send the first 1 or 2 students, and then the message is spread that this is a very nice place where to come, and then we have a good inflow of foreign students coming here. So Riga is a good student city, I would say, and accordingly Latvia and Riga and Latvia's universities should be more active in terms of attracting foreign students, because the city has a lot to offer, and could the universities be a bit more open, it would be a good deal for many students to come here. I think we have several reasons for them being well prepared. One is that the educational system puts much more effort into, call it academic skills like mathematics, in terms of formal and abstract thinking, plus the Latvian and I would say also Baltic culture puts much more effort and values education much more than they do, for example, in Sweden. Thirdly, students are in general much more focused, they are much more motivated here because they want to get out of university with good grades and they want to go right away into the labor market. Whereas Western European students, they are a bit, call it lazier, they are a bit more spoiled. They can spend in Sweden, they need maybe 4.5 years for a 3-year program. Here they want to get out of it as soon as possible within the time. Latvia has learned or has implemented kind of the Bologna setup, so it's easier for students to transfer and go from one country to another. The programs have been shortened, which I think is good, so you nowadays just need 3 years for a bachelor degree. Then I think a huge part of the learning comes from the ability to take exchange students that comes with Erasmus, but also the ability to send faculty or take faculty and also send university administrators. So the mere fact that we have these mobility grants for students, faculty and administrators ensures that there is a learning from both sides, from both kind of other parts of Europe to Latvia and from Latvia to other parts of Europe. Latvia brings, of course, it's one out of nowadays 27 countries, so it brings in a distinct culture, the Latvian culture, which is very different from the cultures in any other part of the European Union. So it brings in the culture, it brings in, I would say, an understanding, and this might be a bit politically sensitive, but I think, or I'm convinced, and I know that there is an understanding of Russia by for historical reasons, by the geographical location that we do not have in very many other parts of the European Union. So I think that's where Latvia definitely can contribute, and where I think the European Union has been a bit poor in terms of using the skills and the knowledge and understanding of Russia that we have in Latvia. Latvia is getting more and more Europeanized. In many ways, you see many more foreigners here. We also see many more foreign students coming here. So coming from Sweden, I see Swedish students coming here to study medicine, for example. We also have companies that they now see Europe as a market. Before it was maybe Latvia plus some neighboring countries. So we see it, I would say we see it everywhere in the society. We see it in terms of cultural life. There is much more European culture being brought into Latvia, be it in terms of concerts, be it in terms of opera, in terms of theatre. So Europe is present everywhere. Latvian has one very distinct advantage. That is, and I see it here with the students, that they are used to work hard. We see it in the overall European labour market that Latvians are still, although it's bad times in the UK, it's bad times in Ireland, they are still in demand in the UK and Irish labour market. So people are used to work very hard. They have good education in general, and nowadays also coming with the European Union, the ability to move, and they take advantage of it. So Latvians being able to work hard, that's one thing. Latvia also being able to show that, which is remarkable, that one can turn around a small country in 20 years from being a Soviet republic to being a full-fledged member of the European Union. What I see there, which is very promising and where I think Latvia contributes a lot, is that it could serve, and it serves as a role model for other countries not yet members of the European Union. I know, for example, there are several twinning projects with Moldova, and Moldova being a small country with a similar history. So I think Latvia can contribute, on top of its people, it could also contribute its experience of transforming an economy into a full-fledged European Union member. What can Europe learn from Latvia? I think first one is, of course, and we see it in the light of the current crisis in Europe, that one can turn around a country, one can do quite tough measures, but one has to have the support of the people, and then have people to be willing to work hard, to have, call it the Latvian work ethics. And that is something where I think certain parts of Europe can learn that if correctly framed, if done properly, then one can change quite a lot in the country in a short period of time for the better in terms of economic development. So that's one lesson. What else is there? Of course, there is the knowledge of being a small country and being successfully kind of balancing close to a big country. That's also something which could be useful for the European Union. Latvia was very lucky to have, I would say, a strong government when the crisis hit the country. There was an understanding and also a willingness, not only on the government side, but also on the side of the population to address the issues. And we have to remember that the ones that have to pay the highest prices, of course, the general public, and the country managed. And I think, again, historical reasons might play a role, that Latvia struggled to get its independence. It was a struggle in the late 1980s, early 1990s, until independence was regained, and part of that spirit is still there, that we want to build a nation, and we get together in Latvia if there is a serious threat from outside, and there was a serious threat after or following the financial crisis, that we might default on the debt. So again, I would say it's down to the people. The people are there, but the people are not there in Greece, for example, right now. They are not at that stage yet. So it's a people, and they had to pay a fairly high price, but did so for the good of the future. What I like best about Latvian people is that they are like Swedes. Latvians are low-key people. They do not boast about what they are doing. Latvians might even be more low-profile than Swedish people. And they have similar habits. They like the countryside, they like to go to the forest, they like to go to the beach. So for me, we are very similar. We are on different sides of the Baltic Sea, but we are very, very similar, and that's why I like it and why I like being here.